In poultry farming, you expect what you give. If you don't give something, don't expect something. The energy that you put in is the same energy that will come out. In this particular video, we are going to be talking about reasons or why these people lost most of their millions in the poultry business and they don't want to ever do it again. So guys, get ready for the video. Let me hope you guys are having a nice day/night depending on where you're watching me from. My name is Jacob, a passionate farmer about poultry farming. On this channel, we generally talk about poultry farming. Anything connected to poultry, you will find it on this channel. So if you have been one of the people that have been looking for channels that can teach you on how you can run a poultry farm successfully, then guys, you're in the right area. But before, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel and don't forget to like that button. Yeah, that like button, hit that like button. That way YouTube will recommend this video to other more people, which will help them in one way or the other in poultry farming as well. And don't forget to turn on your bell notification. That way you will be notified immediately I drop any kind of episode on the channel. So let's keep the ball rolling about the topic why most poultry farmers have lost millions of money, millions of their dollars. So the first and common thing as to why most people lose their money in the poultry business is that they never invest their time and money in learning. Yeah, they don't want to spend their time in learning about poultry. You know, poultry farming is just like an education whereby you go to school, you study books, and at the end, you will pass your exams. The same applies to poultry farming. There are certain things that you need to learn, you need to spend time on, read books in order for you to actually master how it works very well. So, very many poultry farmers out there who would want to venture into poultry keeping, they just pick interest in actually doing this business without actually spending time on the ground, learning 1, 2, 3 things so that they can be well to go. But they just enter into poultry farming without any knowledge. Thus, at the end, if a disease breaks out, you actually don't know where or how you can handle that certain disease. You don't know how much feeds you must give to your birds, and at the end you will be losing lots of money, and yeah, you will be kicked out of the business and your money will eventually be gone just in thin air like that. So I tell you today, when you don't want to fail in poultry farming, the first thing that you should do is that spend time understanding things about poultry keeping. It doesn't matter whether 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, spend that time understanding more about poultry keeping. Like for instance, me over here, I spent 4 years, 4 solid years before I could start a poultry farm. So I really spent time on the ground. I know what I was doing now after starting a poultry farm because I've read very many things, I've watched very many YouTube videos, and I've done a lot of comparisons. So I actually suggest that before you starting at something, even not poultry farming alone, even other businesses, you must first analyze how the business works. Yeah, you must understand more about that business, and after understanding how it works, then it is very easy for you to get into the system. And once you get into the system, guys, you will not find any difficulties in running your business. But if you just go inside over there without even learning, without understanding how it works, if something happens, guys, just abruptly, you will be confused, totally confused, and you will be seeking advices from place A to place B. And remember, advices which are actually given, you will use all of them. You will now not be able to sort whether this is right or this is wrong. And at some point, some advice can actually make things worse because you actually don't know anything. That's the first thing which you should take note of when you don't want to fail in the poultry farming. That's number one. Number two is that most people out there who want to venture into poultry keeping, they have money, right? But they don't want to start small. Rather, they want to start it big at once. They see that they have the money which can bring 5,000 birds, 2,000 birds, and then boom, you will see them bringing in these birds without even understanding how it works. At the end, when a disease breaks out, the birds die and you have lost lots of money. I want to tell you that these people who you are actually seeing with 5,000 birds, 10,000 birds, 50,000 birds, 100,000 birds. They didn't start that one in 1 year. No, they actually spent very many years in actually accumulating those numbers. So guys, why don't you start with small number of birds which you can actually take care of properly without any problem? And once a disease breaks out, even if the birds die all, you will still be in position to understand what was the cause of that outbreak, and in the next batch you will not repeat the same mistakes. But let me say that you are actually to like bring 5,000 birds and they all die, guys, you won't actually repeat to bring in new batch of birds because you have lost a lot of money from the 5,000 birds. But if you are like to start with 500 birds, even if you lose the 500 birds, you still have enough money to actually bring another 500 birds, and with time you will be understanding how it works, and at the end you will actually make it big. So the point is that do not start big, guys. Do not start it big. Just start with the minimum number of birds which you can take care of. Much as you have enough money which can actually bring 5,000 birds, start with 500 birds instead. That way growing up will be very easy and you will understand how the game works very, very well. That's number 2. Number 3 is employing the wrong people to work with on your poultry farm. Let's say that you pick interest in starting a poultry farming, meaning that you don't have any knowledge in poultry farming, but you will be actually looking for some people who have the experience, the knowledge in poultry farming, so that you can actually put hands together with and work with. But at the end, you may fall to someone who is not honest, someone who is a thief, and if you are to like put hands together with this person, you will never go anywhere. You will never go anywhere because this person is not honest and he or she can steal from you. The person can actually give you a wrong record and will actually be in need of the money to remain in his pocket. So at the end, you will find yourself just in one stage, not moving any further. And then more so on that, other people who want to start poultry farms, especially businesses, the first thing that they actually do is that they look at the relatives around, the brothers, the sisters, the uncles, the nephews around who they think that they can actually do that certain job. That's not how the poultry farming works. Poultry farming needs somebody who is passionate about poultry keeping. Poultry farming needs somebody who loves the bird, somebody who can take care of the birds every day, somebody who doesn't get tired of keeping the birds every day. But let me say, if you are like to choose a brother like, oh, my brother, I see you are home, you are actually doing nothing, I think you should come and then, help me, and then we start a poultry farm. That person will not refuse. The person will accept, but the passion for that person is not in poultry farming. You only force that person, or the person only accepted because the person is just reluctant, doing nothing. At the end, the things won't work at all. I suggest when you want to choose people to work with, you should look people who are passionate about something. That's number 1. And then number 2, you should look for people who have experience, knowledge in actually poultry farming. That way, even if you are to bring these people, you won't have any problems in actually managing your poultry farm. And still on that, when you are like to employ a brother, even if that relative of yours eats your money, there is no way you can take this person too, because that's your blood. You know what I'm trying to say? That's your blood. You can take that person nowhere. But if it is somebody whom you have employed, you have full voice on that person. And the moment you say that I want an accountability and where is this money which is missing, that person should be accountable and should explain how that money worked. And if there is nothing like any evidence to show how or where that money is, you can take actions on that person. But if a relative, no way. You can't do that. You will just leave it like that. And of course, that is how your downfall will start, guys. So take note of that very, very well. At this point, if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, then you are doing a very, very big mistake. Do me a pleasure, guys. Subscribe to the channel. That way you can be one of these awesome YouTube channel. And don't forget to like the video. And if you have a friend, a relative, or somebody who you find that will find this interest in the poultry thing, there is that share button. Help me, guys, click that share button and then share this video to them. That way it will help them so much in making up their minds or in solving some of the problems that they will be facing in the poultry sector. And on top of that, we also have a WhatsApp group whereby we teach poultry farmers on how to handle poultry problems and as well give them solutions to the problems that are affecting poultry farmers entirely. So if you do want to join this WhatsApp group, I will actually leave a link in the description below. Use that link, that will take you to the page. Thanks for doing that. The next reason why very many poultry farmers have lost millions of money in the poultry farming is that they don't have a budget for their poultry farm expenses. You will find that a person who wants to start a poultry farm has kept some money somewhere, let me say 1 million, and then after injecting that 1 million into the business, next month, let me say when he actually gets the salary, the person will eventually pick all the salary, all 3/4 of the salary, and then still injects it in the poultry farming without actually having a clear record on how the money is working, how much and what has actually been bought on the farm with how much. That record is not there. They only assume that I am actually doing a business without having a record for how the expenses are actually being done on the farm. At the end, after you actually injecting money time and again, you will actually get tired and be like, oh my God, I have lost over this amount of money in the business and I have got nothing from the money. And yet, very many people out there, Jacob, they're actually telling me that poultry farming is a profitable business. And over here, I am actually getting nothing at all. What the heck is this? Yeah, that's actually what normally happens. But if you have a clear record of how you spend your money, you will be good to go. So guys, make sure that the moment you want to start your poultry farm, starting from digging the holes, starting from buying the materials, make sure that you have a clean record of all the things up to the time when the birds start laying. Anything, whether the food, whether they just put it down on a pen in a book, and then it will be very easy for you to calculate how much money you have spent and how much money you will be earning from the business. Because at some point, for instance, let me cite an example. In the local chicken, if you are like to actually buy commercial feeds and then be feeding your birds with the commercial feeds, these are local chicken, remember. Local chickens, these are birds which have poor feed conversion rate. In other words, the feeds that are actually given to them, the rate at which they convert the feeds into their body to actually make them grow very fast is very, very low. So you can actually buy feeds time and again for these birds. Remember, you can actually sell these birds at around 6 7 months. That's when it is somehow sold as meat. And if you are to calculate the amount of the feeds that you have given to them compared to the amount of the bird that you will be selling, you will find that the difference is very, very low, or even sometimes the amount of the feeds is higher than the price of the bird. So that's why we actually emphasize on the issue of record keeping. You must have a clean record keeping on your poultry farm. That way, managing your poultry farm will be very, very easy. The next thing is that most people who want to venture into poultry keeping, they venture into it as something like an hobby, something which you can do as a part-time job, not as a business. That's why most people fail in the business. Because when you are to start something and then you put less concern about that thing, eventually the chances of that business succeeding are very, very low. But even if you start something small and then put your heart in it all the time, guys, the chances of that business to succeed is very, very high. What am I trying to say is that most people out there who venture into poultry keeping, they venture into it as a side job, something which they actually don't take much of their time doing it. That's why they eventually fail. The birds themselves, at some point, they won't be having water because you may forget even. You may forget that at this time I need to go and then give water to my birds. At this time I need to go and give feeds to my birds. Then at some point you can forget. And if you forget, remember, those are birds, those are living things which, if they are actually lacking something into their body, that's a problem. Eventually, you can lose your birds, and then you will be like poultry farming is really a bad business, I cannot venture into it. No, that is because you handled it in a wrong way. But if you are to handle it as a business, put all your efforts in it, guys, it will succeed. It will really succeed. That's the next thing which has actually pushed farmers out of the poultry business, and as well they have lost millions of money in this business. And of course, there are other poultry farmers, after starting their businesses, they find it very hard to actually inject more money in the business. For instance, let me cite an example in the layer business. A person may want to venture into poultry keeping, like I said earlier, without understanding how it works. He or she may actually be told that this is the amount of money you need to spend until the birds start laying. So during the course of the birds growing, there are other things like vitamins, vaccination, which you need to give to your birds in order for them to actually grow well. So if these people, they are actually told that there is actually drugs or vaccines which we actually need to give to our birds or your birds, these people will actually find it very hard to actually pull the money and then put it in the vaccine sector. That way, it will also make your birds to actually fall sick if a disease comes, because there is nothing like any vaccines into them. And at some point also, still, I'm citing the example on the layer birds, you will find that the birds are now 4 months and then they are not laying, but the person feels like he or she has spent now enough money in the business, and at the end the person will actually let it go, and then the person will withdraw, and then he or she will be forced to sell off the birds, not knowing that the birds will start laying at 4 months and a half to 5 months, and then when they actually start laying, they will lay for 2 years. He or she will forget and then think that he have actually injected lots of money and the money have died. So it is actually better to sell off the birds, because he is actually spending money on nothing. I am actually explaining this based on a true reality which actually happened with some poultry farmers. So make sure that you understand the things very well. The vaccines, give them to your birds. Don't actually say that my birds are fine, I am actually seeing them moving very well, there is no need for me to give them the vaccines. No, you are actually killing your birds. Vaccinate your birds with every vaccine and do not actually skip any vaccine. That way, your birds will grow very well, and then you will actually also get good results at the end. First, try to look at the maize which grow. For instance, let me say that you actually plant maize and then you actually don't weed it. How do you expect this maize to actually bring good yields to you? Of course not, because there are weeds which are actually growing together with the maize and they're actually suppressing the maize so much. So even if the maize is to actually give you yields, the yields won't be as expected, because the weeds also at the same time, they were actually taking off the nutrients which were supposed to be given to the maize. So if you are like to weed it, then the yields will be as expected. In poultry farming, you expect what you give. If you don't give something, don't expect something. The energy that you put in is the same energy that will come out. Don't expect something and yet you have done nothing at all. That is not how it works in the poultry farming. The next reason why very many poultry farmers are out of the business is that they expect quick results in the beginning. Who the hell does this? Most poultry farmers out there, after investing in the poultry business, they actually want to see the results after 5 6 months, after a year if maximum. And if the business is actually not giving them money as expected within this short time, they will actually say that, oh, poultry farming, I've closed your book, you are not money bringing, I am ending you now. That's not how it works, guys. This is a long-term business. Most of the people out there, they think that after 1 year, he or she must get rich. No, that's not how it works. You must also spend time on the ground. You must learn how the things work. And once the money starts coming, that's when it will also be good. But most of us handle things differently. Some guys, they actually made it after 1 year, others after 5 years. So you never know yours. But keep going. No matter what happens, keep going. Do not expect things just in a short time. This is a long-term business, and you also must adapt to it, and then try to actually put it that way, the way it is. And then the last one on the list today is that most poultry farmers do not follow the poultry guidelines. What do I mean by this? Just like any other businesses, poultry farming also has the guidelines which you must follow in order for you to actually find it easy in managing your business. Like, for instance, you must follow the biosecurity measures. This is something that I'll not talk about right now, but I've talked about it in every video that I was posting. So make sure that you follow the biosecurity measures on your poultry farm. Make sure that you have the good feeds, good quality feeds on your poultry farm. Make sure that the breed of the birds that you bring into your farm are good breeds. Those are actually some of the things that you should do in order for you to actually have a smooth running of your poultry farm for a long time, and at the same time you will be getting money out of it. But if you are to do the contrary, guys, you will be among the people who are saying that poultry farming is a bad business. Remember, every business has also the negative part of it. Make sure that you understand the business very well, and then you actually do the right thing, and then you will expect also the right thing at the same time. Otherwise, thanks for watching. See you in my next video. Bye bye.